Ricardo keeping score with one of the most significant forces in the golf industry because of his experience, intelligence, and ability to give his opponents 5-foot putts when they pick it up. Although I will tell you that Ken Kennerly has looked at me crossways, but other people have done that before. Ken, how are you?
You know, Rick, I was thinking of you yesterday when poor Phil missed that putt, and no, I would not have given you that putt.
Well, see, the thing is, we have a new thing going. If Jack Nicklaus wants to promote improving golf to the masses, we should indicate to him when we see him that they should have given Dustin Johnson that 3-footer last year at the Open, U.S. Open, and should have given Phil Mickelson this one. I think probably purists will turn over in their grave. But Ken Kennerly, in all seriousness, Senior Vice President, IMG Golf North America, North American events, basically runs all of the major events in North America for IMG, and more important and more local anyway, he's been the executive director of the Honda Classic for many years, the first event in the Florida Swing. Thanks for joining us, and are you ready for probably the biggest tournament yet?
You know what? We're getting there. It's tell you what, Rick, the build out has been phenomenal. Our weather finally in Florida has gotten on the Florida side, which is great. Speaking about Phil yesterday, he is one of our great players that will be in our field, and as much as I was kind of pulling for him yesterday, Vaughn Taylor's a good person, but if he wants to now win his first tournament in 53 or 51 events since the Open Championship in 13, having it be the Honda Classic, frankly, would make my day.
Yeah, and it's all about how Phil would appear in your tournament. I understand that. I've known you long enough that it's not all about you. It's all about the tournament, so that's really important. From a business perspective, Ken, give me your kind of 30,000-foot report card on the golf business. How do you feel about it? Is it surviving the turbulent economy? Is it out of the woods? What's your thought?
Well, I don't think it's out of the woods, Rick. I don't think any business is really out of the woods right now. Attendance, the participation rate, is flat. So that's, I guess, a good thing in that it's not declining, continuing to decline. So, being flat, frankly, is probably pretty good according to the National Golf Foundation. I'll tell you from the event perspective, if you're able to rally the community and rally the partners and really create something special for people, the event business is going well. One of the things that we did out here, as you well know, 10 years ago was when we took over this event was, we had to insulate ourselves against a downturn in not only the economy but also in golf in general. And, by doing that, we've created a, really an entertainment platform. I mean, this is what we call a must-attend event in Palm Beach County. We have, thousands and thousands of people that come out here and truly enjoy the experience, and it's more than just golf. We've had 194,000 a couple of years ago. Last year with that tremendous, terrible weather we had on the Saturday, we lost and we finished on Monday, so we were about 164,000. But more than 50% of our audience comes out here, Rick, because they're here to have a good time. Yeah, golf at the end of the day is probably one of the reasons they're coming here, but it's the entertainment factor. It's the the must attend. It's I need to be seen factor, and I think because of that, we're able to frankly do pretty well against some of our competitors that continue to just market golf and spectator golf, which is not really in the future.
Is that the key to the business as well? Reuters' international audience pretty significant. And obviously, this is a Florida event, but with NBC focusing on it as an international event heading into the World Golf Championship the next week. So what do you say to an audience in Dubai who wants to follow Rory McIlroy, or in Europe who wants to follow the PGA Tour? How international and how important is this event from an international perspective?
Well, we continue to improve every year, and with that we have several factors going for us. One, it's Florida, and late February, early March, people love turning on the television and seeing just the fabulous climate that we have down here. And to your reference about England and Scotland and some of the others, the players in our field are we have several countries around the world represented in our player field, from several from Europe and South America and Asia, of course, and everyone's tuning in to see their favorite players, which is which is great. But I think also with the partnerships that we have, not only with American Honda at 35 years and counting, our title sponsor, the longest running on the tour, our partnership with the Nicklaus family, Jack and Barbara Nicklaus, certainly adds a huge element to what we're doing. Then we've got the iconic PGA National and, of course, the Bear Trap. And, the Bear Trap is perhaps, other than Augusta's Amen Corner, the three most recognizable holes in golf. And I think, truly and internationally, we're recognized as such. And I can just tell you, being out here at the resort and living here at 12 months a year, the number of international people that are coming to play golf on the champion course, and then once they get to that Bear Trap in a funny way, and I mean this sincerely, and seriously, it's very similar to when you get to Pebble Beach number 7, when all of a sudden the cameras come out. When you get to that Bear Trap and you see that big, 7-8 foot statue of the bear and the plaque that says, Jack Nicklaus's comment about, the 3 hardest holes, consecutive hardest holes in golf. I mean, it's become more of a photo op, which is pretty cool. So I think, internationally we're growing for several reasons, as I said, Florida, Honda, Bear Trap, so on and so forth.
Ken Kennerly runs the Honda Classic, runs IMG Golf Events North America as well. Business show, give us the business metrics. You don't have to give us private numbers, but obviously you take a 30,000 decrease in attendance because of weather. It's going to impact your bottom line. Does a tournament make a profit? And if so, kind of generally, what are the major revenue sources for somebody that wants to kind of get a Pro Tournament 101?
Well, I mean, other than the majors and other than the World Golf Championships, an event like the Honda Classic is, it's all in about a $15 million tournament. But television is $5 million plus of it, and then you've got your purse at $6 million, and you've got all this other stuff going into it. But last year, when again, as you know, and people should know, and if they don't, they will now, that every PGA Tour event is a 501c3 organization. So our net tournament income goes directly to charities. So last year we gave $2.5 million to South Florida children's related charities. We were frankly on track to get close to $3 million, but when we did have the weather issues, it cost us, no doubt. It cost us at the gate, cost us on Monday because we had to finish on Monday, and you don't charge for Monday, and a lot of factors that go into it. But roughly we're going to give a little over $2.5 million, we believe, this year again, which would be great. And it's all to a great cause, and it's the impact of the event in our community is measured at over $43 million, and that, of course, is all in there with between rooms and food and beverage and exposure and all that, and then of course the television, the global television reach that the PGA Tour commands is pretty significant.
5 years ago, 6 years ago, you and I would always talk about the Tigerization of the tour and how important it is to get Tiger to this event or not. People are talking about Tiger less and less. Would you say broadly that Jason Day, Rory McIlroy, Jordan Spieth, and that kind of created rivalry from last year, and Jordan's move ahead of everybody else and catching on minimizes the need for Tiger Woods to be mentioned in regular tournament golf these days?
Well, look at Ricky Fowler, what he's done this year. I mean, they came out very boldly with the next big 3, and then quickly Ricky, rebounded or made a statement at HSBC, and then at Phoenix a couple weeks ago where he almost won. But I'll say, Rick, that you can never replace a Tiger Woods, just like you can't replace Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, and Gary Player. Tiger, it's difficult to replace him. So without him in the game, in my opinion, we are missing something. Now, luckily, with Rory and Ricky and Jordan, as you mentioned, and Jason Day and Bubba and Adam Scott and all these guys, luckily, we have great young players that are certainly carrying their own weight. And to answer your question, does it minimize the negative impact that Tiger has by not participating? Probably a little. But let's be serious and let's not fool anybody. Tiger Woods is still Tiger Woods, and when he showed up at the Wyndham Championship last year in August and played well and was one of the last couple final groups, I mean, the ratings were off the charts, and he still delivers that fringe fan that golf needs. And we saw it last year directly when Tiger hurt himself and could not play last year's Honda Classic because the spike in ticket sales that we normally get leading up to the tournament had softened a little bit. And what does that mean in dollars and cents? You don't really know, but it's probably, a couple $100,000 that we did not see that would have come through the gates because people still want to see Tiger, just like they do Jack and Arnold and these other guys. So it's a long way to answer your question, but does he have an effect? It's more minimum today, but he is still an enormous asset for this game.
Long way to answer the question, but a candid way to answer the question. Really important. Ken Kennerly running the Honda Classic, Thomson Reuters keeping score, and Sports Byline, iHeart, TuneIn, a whole bunch of different places for Ken Kennerly to spread the word internationally. A couple more questions. How would you, having a magic wand that you don't have, if you were the commissioner of the PGA Tour for a day, what would you change tomorrow that needs some changing in your humble opinion?
Well, it's a tough question. I know they've asked that of Tim Fincham and of course Jay Monahan, and it's a hard one. I think the one thing the PGA Tour has done so well is they have constantly delivered these $10+ million sponsorships annually, and I know going forward a concern is, will the corporate world continue to support 40 events in America on an annual basis? So, does that mean we've got to look international a little bit more, perhaps? I think, doing whatever we can do to get the young players through the system onto the PGA Tour is an important thing because, again, to your point earlier about Tiger, you need that fresh blood in there. So it's really a hard question to pinpoint, but I think we've got to continue to make sure we're able to identify those companies that are going to support this great game, because there are a couple tournaments out there that we're losing and that are still without sponsorship, but I think the tour has been very good at pulling that rabbit out of a hat, so I think they'll continue to prevail.
Are there enough corporate sponsors and creative tournament directors who will give those corporate sponsors enough assets to make them feel happy in the future?
Yeah, I think so. I think the challenge, Rick, that you have is how do you measure the television, and how do you measure some of the other branding? I mean, the digital world that we're in today is enormous, and the metrics that the tour will show you about just the digital side and the values that companies are getting are pretty significant. So, when you measure out, when an ad agency is going to measure out a 30-second spot or a 60-second spot on NBC or CBS, is it going to equate to what they think the value might be? Perhaps not, but people have got to look beyond that. And, you're buying into a blue-chip organization, one of the, foremost, sports organizations truly in the world, without any dirt and all that. So, I think the value is in the eye of the beholder in a way. And I don't think in general sports marketing, which as you know all too well, is something you can just black and white, put it on a board and measure it out.
Ken Kennerly runs the Honda Classic, IMG's North American golf guru, and has publicly claimed and agreed to give me an unlimited supply of 3-foot putts for the rest of our natural lives. Thanks very much, Ken Kennerly. Really appreciate it. Rick Horrow, see you soon.